an engineer turned fitness professional. So that's Abhishek for you here. And Abhi, welcome to Art of Eating series.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks for inviting me.
See, one thing that I'm really keen to ask you today is, see, you've been into fitness modeling, okay? And it's not
Yeah,
a joke to get ready for a particular photo shoot, right?
yeah,
It involves a lot of work. And
yeah.
friends, you know something, like when I met Abhishek, he had actually come for a consultation. And at that time, he shared that how he has done body transformation using steroids, okay? But when he had met me, he said, I want to do by eating clean, just by following a complete healthy homemade food kind of a thing. So he didn't want to use any kind of supplements at all. Probably he would have used just whey protein and that's it, something very minimal, but he didn't use
Whey
any
protein and
anabolic
fish
steroids.
oil. Yeah.
Yeah, and fish oil. So how was the experience, Abhishek? So if you could share as to how your journey was, like when you did the transformation way back, using steroids and without using steroids. So is it faster? What did you feel?
Honestly, my opinion, in my experience, I got better results when I was off steroids than when I was on steroids. Because my body doesn't respond good to stress. When I'm in stress, my body doesn't lose fat or I don't get into my condition. Steroids was giving me a lot of stress in my body. So basically, it didn't do that great for me. When I was doing a natural way, I was getting better results. My results was
Okay.
better. I was more shredded and I was more conditioned.
Okay. So usually when you have, have some modeling assignment, how
Hmm.
much time do you give yourself to get ready for that photo shoot?
12 weeks to 16 weeks max. Depends on my fat percentage. If my fat percentage is already around 15, then I could easily do it in 8 weeks. If my fat percentage is near 25, I need at least 16 weeks then.
Okay. And during COVID,
Hmm.
was there an increase in your fat percentage?
Yes, because the gym was shut, my business was shut, so I was like overeating. My fat percentage was around 26.
Okay.
I'm not very exact because there was no DEXA, but 26%. My photos, you have it, right? It was almost
Yeah.
26. When I took a skin fold, it was 26%.
Okay, okay. So, friends, whoever is here, please feel free to ask questions, any kind of questions. See, so Abhishek is someone who has tried fat burners to steroids to everything, and plus he's also gone the other way and eaten freshly homemade food and then chiseled himself. Okay, so the picture which was there in the poster or the creative, that's the transformation he's done recently. And what happened during this transformation that you did during the lockdown?
During this
Could you share
lockdown,
the journey?
yeah, I started my BMR was around 1600. So I started my diet around 1900 calories for the first week. I just made sure I was eating clean. Every day I made sure I was eating clean and I tracked my food and I ate it. 1900 was my first week. Then gradually, like week by week, I started reducing my calories. And
Okay,
this
okay.
time I did, yeah, this time I didn't run behind too much of caffeine. Initially for 12 weeks, my caffeine was very low, like maximum a cup of coffee. That's it, black coffee. That's it, nothing much. I didn't go seriously on stimulants because I know at the end I'll be needing more stimulants. So I didn't take any stimulants in the starting of my journey. As the time went, I started every week. I'll either increase my workout or I'll decrease my calorie intake.
Okay, was there any compromise on your muscle mass? Because, see, I've seen two sets of people, the ones who would take it slow, and they will do the body transformation over a period of 6 months to 1 year. Okay,
Yes.
but there are some individuals who are like really restless and they want to go ahead and do a fast track. Okay, and they'll be super focused. And once they reach that place or the target fat percentage, they'll go ahead and maintain it. At that time, all the regular foods will come into their diet. I think you belong to the category where you really go ahead, tuck, tuck, tuck,
Faster. Yeah.
to the fast track mode, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so what are the kind of things that you ate? And I'm like
My
keen to know about the sugar that you monitored regularly, your blood sugar levels.
uh, yeah. The first thing when you want to lose fat is you have to make sure you're insulin sensitive. If you're very resistant to insulin, you have to reduce your carb content. So how can you measure it? It's like your fasting blood sugar should be around 80-90. That is optimal. Else, if you have a good carb meal, your you should be back to normal within 2 hours. If your insulin levels are still around 140, which means you're very resistant to carbohydrate. So it is better not to take at least high glycemic carbs. You can place your carbs around your workout, like lower glycemic carbs. But don't, if you're insulin resistant, try to reduce your carbohydrate. Don't go so wild on carbohydrate. I'm a person who responds good to carbohydrate, not to fat. When I start taking too much of fat, my body tends to lose muscle and I feel very less in energy. This time, though I was going very low on calories, my performance never got affected. I was able to do my hit. I was able to push the same weight till the end of the journey, and there was no compromise because. And make sure you take sufficient salt.
Okay.
Salt before workout plays a very major role in your performance.
Okay, so how much salt did you take and how did you mix it up in the sense, was this part of your sport drink or did you just mix it with your drinking water? How did you consume the salt?
In my opinion, mixing your salt with water is not a great idea because you're just going to urinate it. I just add it on my food. Like if I going to have eggs before my workout, I just have a layer of salt over it. So it is going to be like it was fueling my energy well, my workout sessions well. So I didn't feel depleted. I didn't feel dehydrated. So my energy was very good during my work. The problem with steady state long duration cardio is your brain will make it smart. Your brain is smarter than your brain is always smart. So what it will do is it will cut your involuntary action. Suppose you are a person who goes and get groceries. You will start sending someone to get groceries. In case if you are a person who loves to do steady state cardio, make sure you have a Fitbit in your hand and track your number of steps. Keep your goal as reaching 10,000 steps, 8,000 steps, whatever it is. But don't think you did a 40 minutes walk, you're going to lose fat. If you want to improve your insulin sensitivity, try 10 minutes walk after your meal. After every meal, try to walk 10 minutes. HIIT is the best opportunity to increase your insulin sensitivity. Then focus on like compound lifts, deadlifts. Insulin is majorly used by your muscles. So if you have more muscle mass, you're obviously going to be insulin sensitive. So make sure you do proper weight training. And place your carb, if you are a person who is doing a desk job, place your carb before and after workout. Like during your workout, don't keep it in the morning. Avoid carbohydrate in the morning.
Okay.
Go for a high fat and high protein diet.
Yeah, so most often what we all do, friends, the ones who are here, okay, let me explain this to you. See, what Abhi is trying to say is, when you are insulin sensitive, a lot of problems which we look from outside as stubborn weight loss, I'm trying hard but I'm not able to lose weight. Or it could be women who have PCOS issues. Or it could be someone who's trying to conceive. Or it could also be someone who with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, okay? And if you actually go dig deeper, you might find the root cause of all this evil is actually insulin resistance, because you can literally connect this to everything. Another factor is there are times when people are extremely thin and they still have insulin resistance. You might think only big made people or else fat people have insulin resistance. No. There are clients that Abhishek as well as I have seen where there are extremely thin people who have PCOS. There are extremely thin people with insulin resistance. And you know the kind of symptoms that they come up with? They'll say that as soon as I eat like a idli, dosa, pongal, upma, khichdi, within 1.5 to 2 hours, I feel very sleepy. Likewise, after every meal, I feel sleepy. So if there's someone who says, I feel sleepy, tired all the time, I'm not able to concentrate in work. After breakfast, you're trying to start work, with your fresh mind, but you're not able to focus. Next thing is the urge to have something sweet like tea, coffee, biscuit, kadla mithai, that is chicky, any of that. So if you have this kind of a, urge or sugar craving, that is also nothing but this could be insulin resistance. So, and acne. All of this, go and get your blood test. Go meet an endocrinologist. Okay, that makes a big difference.
If you want to bulk up, your body fat percentage should be at least below 13. If you have ever seen a person who has been shredded for a competition or a photo shoot, then next week if you see him, he'll gain a lot of muscle mass. Like because whatever carbohydrate he takes, his body will be utilizing it properly. If you are already above 15% fat, and you're trying to bulk up, what happens is you will be insulin resistant and you will accumulate a lot of fat. You won't be accumulating a lot of muscle. If your goal is to bulk up, your goal is to bulk up with muscle, not to bulk up with fat. Correct. Everyone's goal is to gain lean tissues, not to gain fat. How many people you would have seen and I would have seen, like they will try to bulk up in off season, they will go around 80 kgs, and when the season comes back, they will try to come back to 60, which is not an optimal approach. So you make sure if you want to bulk up, your ab wall is visible. If your ab wall is not visible, you cannot bulk up. If you bulk up, if you gain 10 kgs, 8 kgs will be from fat and 2 kgs will be from muscle, which is definitely not optimal. Again, you have to struggle hard cutting all those fat. I have done those mistakes and many people would have done that mistake. If you are below 13% fat, you can bulk up. If you are above 15% fat, definitely you cannot bulk up. If a person is trying to cut down fat in 12 to 16 weeks, but it is impossible to cut down in a session. So I am saying, like, don't try to do, you cannot burn all the fat you have accumulated in a single day. So I'm saying recovery is way too important. Immediately when it comes to fat loss, what people think is they immediately cut down too much of food or they do too much of workout, which both is not bad. Once you hit a plateau, breaking the plateau is going to be very tough. So what I'm saying is, make sure you do the minimal changes and get the maximal output. That is the smart way to do.
Okay.
Be patient, in 16 weeks you can change.
Okay, you sound like Tim Ferriss. I've read his book.
Okay.
Yeah, the 4-hour workout or the 4-hour body, right?
4 hour,
so he
yeah,
talks about,
in a week.
Yeah, he talks about minimal effort and then maximal
Output.
maximal output.
Yeah.
But what is the importance and frequency of high intensity interval training when cutting? I think that's a very specific question for you.
Yeah. First, I want to say it's a very good question. Just see here, you have when you want to lose fat, you have two opportunities. One is to eat less or burn more. So start with 2 sessions. If your body is easily adapting, then start increasing your HIIT sessions like 3 to 4 times a week. Don't go beyond that because it's going to cause central nervous fatigue. You might not recover. If you just keep extending your HIIT sessions, you might not recover. If your recovery is good, you can do even 5 days. It's based on your recovery. Measure your resting heart rate. If you are recovering well, you can go and do. If you are not recovering, back off, like max to max 2 to 3 sessions.
Okay, Abhishek, are you there? There's
Yes,
a
ma'am.
network drop. Okay, there's a network drop.
Can you see me
couldn't
now?
hear- it's very.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Could you repeat? I think you said HIIT should be done like say 3 to 4 days a week, and
No,
there should be.
HIIT, I
for
said,
recovery.
yeah, ma'am. HIIT is going to cost you central nervous fatigue. So if your recovery is, start with 2 sessions, see how your body responds. If your recovery is good, if your sleep is good, everything is good, measure your resting heart rate. When you're overtrained or something, your resting heart rate is going to increase. So when your recovery is good, you can even do 5 times a week. It's not going to harm you. If your recovery is bad and you're trying to push yourself too much, it is going to increase your cortisol. It will make it bad. Back off, reduce the sessions of your HIIT, make it to 2 sessions. If your recovery is good, you can even do 5 sessions.
Okay.
Depends upon how your body responds.
Okay.
Depends upon how your body responds.
Okay, great. So there were some questions about whether we can take apple, beetroot, carrot juice. I'll answer that. Okay, guys, if any of you here has insulin resistance, okay, if any of you has insulin resistance, please don't have carrot beetroot juice because it's got quite a lot of sugar in it, and these are vegetables which grow under the ground and they have quite a lot of starch. So I wouldn't recommend the juices made out of carrot and beetroots, and that's definitely not going to be helpful. Okay, this is one. Okay, how about plant proteins? Abhi, have you done any kind of vegan diet, or have you done any plant protein? Have you used it? What is your experience?
No, ma'am, I've never gone vegan and I have no ideas of going vegan also. See, there is a lot of studies that proves like if you consume like beet, like anything, beet protein, if you consume 20 grams and 20 grams of whey protein is going to equal 40 grams of wheat protein or any plant-based protein. And the quality of protein, most of the times it is like bioavailability of plant protein is not that great when you ask me. I am a great fan of Charles Poliquin. So when I listen to his any of his things, he's always against vegan, and his suggestion is that his quote is that people who choose vegan or like has lesser IQ. So I am a greater fan of Charles Poliquin. So I always feel like I never had any plans of going vegan. I'm from a Brahmin family. I've been a vegetarian, but I've never been a vegan.
Okay, okay. But Abhishek, I would actually disagree on that. Okay, probably that's Charles Poliquin's idea.
Yeah.
I know a lot
That's
of
what.
clients. I know a lot of clients who have benefited becoming
With
vegan.
plant-based,
But at the same time,
yeah.
plant-based nutrition, and they have actually reversed diabetes. A lot of skin issues have been sorted out. So I think each of us have different schools of thought,
Yeah.
and it's absolutely fine. We agree to disagree.
Yeah.
I totally understand. For you, it didn't
Yeah.
work. For you, eating non-veg helps, and then of course
Yeah.
going off gluten and dairy helps. I think
Yeah.
that's absolutely fine. How about whey protein? Minal Kriplani is asking about whey protein. So, what is your experience with protein powders? So, do you use a concentrate or a isolate? And in your
I use
transformation journey, do you use it?
I always go for isolate. I don't use concentrate. I always go for pure isolate, especially if I am going on a fat reduction phase. What I do is I take hydrolyze sometimes. The products generally I use is on hydroway or dimetized iso 100, which is purely a hydrolyzed. It is just a
Okay.
filtration process. If you are not if you're okay having that extra carbs and something, you can go for concentrate. Doesn't harm you much, but isolate is better.
Okay. So,
Having isolate is always better.
how many scoops have you taken, Abhi, so far? Usually
I
during
use
this
it
kind of
just after workout, man. I use it just after my workout. After my workout, I use 30 to 45 grams of protein from whey. That's it. I don't
Okay.
overdo whey protein unless and
Okay,
until
okay.
I'm traveling or something.
You wouldn't overdo whey protein, right? So, 1 to 2
Yeah, unless
scoops.
and until I'm traveling or something. Yeah, unless and until I'm traveling or something, I don't do it.
Okay, there's a very interesting question, Jaya 282001. So she's asked, can we reduce our muscle without reducing weight? Okay, Jaya, you're not supposed to lose muscle at any cost. Okay, this entire thing about weight loss is about reducing fat and increasing muscle. Even if you're not looking at weight loss, never lose muscle. You need more muscle. It gives contour, toning for your body. It supports your bone. It protects your bone against any kind of fracture. And you need the strength and power to even carry your suitcases. If you're going somewhere, you're carrying any weights, this is the one, the muscle mass is what gives you a lot of strength. So you shouldn't be even talking about it. You're not supposed to lose muscle mass at any cost. Okay, that's one. Okay, is intermittent fasting good? So Abhishek, have you tried intermittent fasting?
Yeah. Intermittent fasting. Mostly Sundays, I at least do 14 hours fast. It is going to help you in process of autophagy, where you are just going to eliminate your bad cells. Intermittent fasting will help you improving your insulin sensitivity again. Intermittent fasting is way too good. I at least do once or twice a week. I don't do it on daily basis, but once or twice a week definitely yes.
Yeah, intermittent fasting is good. I do second that, but it's not for people who are very young, below 18, okay, or people who are underweight or who have any health issues. Please try to avoid that. You need to discuss with your doctor before embarking on something like this. Okay, if you're absolutely fine, healthy, an adult, and then looking at reversing insulin resistance, or probably you want to reduce fat percentage, you can try it once or twice a week. I think, and but again, a lot of people think within the 2 meals you can eat whatever you want. That's not the way it is. Okay, so Raj Kiran has asked, what are the things to be considered before starting the diet? Insulin, gluten intolerance, thyroid level. Yeah, it'll be good that you meet an endocrinologist and get a battery of blood tests done, because when you look at blood tests, fasting postprandial blood sugar, fasting postprandial insulin hormone, HbA1c, okay, and when it comes to thyroid, your endocrinologist will recommend, So in certain cases, after asking your symptoms, we might ask for, besides the thyroid profile, thyroid antibodies also. So we are not doctors, okay? We are paramedics, and I would suggest that you go sit with the doctor, tell all that you're going through, and then get a list of tests, and then go ahead and get started. Okay. As far as gluten intolerance is concerned, I think a genetic test will help you a lot. That's one. Done. So, Abhi, have you met women who have PCOS? Have you reversed
Yes,
any
ma'am.
cases?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
What
worked with a
strategies?
few clients.
What are the tips?
Uh,
Yeah.
the thing was, when it comes to training, I was just making females. They always they can recover with more volume. Females are good with volume, and you can even give more reps. So frequency and volume, females are good and they respond better. If it's a heavy lift, guys respond better. If it's like frequency and volume, females always respond better. And for a female with PCOS, the first thing I do is I avoid gluten, milk. I don't give them gluten, I don't give them milk, and their training frequency will be like the volume of every training is going to be more, which was helping them a lot. Automatically, in 6 months, the PCOS was reversed. When they were avoiding gluten, milk, it gave them a drastic change. Milk products are okay, but just the draw of milk, I didn't give them. And the training was like most compound lifts will be almost there in every session. More than isolation, compound lifts will was more for them.
Okay, okay. So Asma Ediprono, Asma is telling no carbs, then no rice, idli, dosa, no gluten, then what are the foods to be taken actually? Okay, so
I'm
Abhi, do you want to share what you ate?
Yeah. No, I'm not saying no carbs. I'm saying if you have insulin resistance, then reduce your carbs. Uh, if you have insulin resistance, don't take too much of fructose and too much of sugar. If you're taking something with low glycemic index, you still might be better. But gluten, being an Indian, avoiding gluten is not going to be very tough. Rice, sweet potatoes, if you want to take carbs, rice, sweet potato, even gluten-free chapatis are available. Even if you see gluten-free oats is available, you can take anything which is gluten-free. And once you're if you want to completely, I'm not asking you to eliminate carb. There is a thing called dawn effect. Once you eliminate carb completely and reintroduce carb, your body is not going to respond better for that. So if you are going to reduce carb, just make sure you introduce it again. Rice is one of the best source of carbohydrate. Don't avoid rice.
So
When it comes
hope,
to me, rice is the best source of carbohydrate.
yeah, so friends, hope you heard that right. Don't avoid rice. So he's done all sorts of experiments on himself. See, when you say carbohydrates, carbohydrates are present in the fruits, vegetables, the dals that you consume, as well as the grains. Okay, there's also lactose, which is a form of sugar, which is present in milk. Okay, so we could be telling no grains. Okay, it's not going to be completely carb free. It's never zero carb. Unless, of course, you're on a ketogenic diet, which is given for people with convulsions or epileptic seizures. Okay, that's when 80 or 90% is fat-based diet.
Fat.
That is completely different. That is a therapeutic diet. Carbohydrates will be there in the fruits, vegetables that you consume, and also the dal that you consume. So it's never zero carb. He is actually indicating low carb, and the first thing to go is, because we Indians tend to have a lot of rotis, lot of rice or pongal, khichdi, upma and all that, the grain intake, if it is reduced, and the roots and tubers like potatoes, yam, colocaceas, beetroot and carrot, and then to restrict eating large volumes of fruits and vegetables. So large volumes of fruit especially, that's what he's been talking about. Okay, I hope you got that clear. Okay, don't confuse. Carbohydrates are there in other food as well. How do you break a plateau? What are the possible factors which could come in?
Breaking in when it comes to
Plateau,
training
weight plateau.
weight plateau. See, you are going to have that's what everyone is going to hit a plateau at a point of time. So always start in the higher end. Like keep your when you're planning to lose fat, keep your if your BMR is like 1800, you're going to work out. Start with the higher end. At least your baseline calorie. Don't directly go inside deficit. And because you're taking a baseline calorie and you're working out, you're going to shed fat in the first initial days. When you're making your diet clean, you're going to reduce fat. Once after a week, just make sure once your body hits a plateau, you have two opportunities. One is to reduce your calories or to increase your workout. When only once you hit a plateau, just keep reduce your calorie little bit. Don't directly jump to zero carb or don't directly drastically cut like 500, 600 calories. That time, if you hit a plateau, it is going to be tough. If you are keeping your calorie intake high and your workout less, breaking a plateau is going to be easy. That is my simple tip for you. Like, please try this. It will help a lot.